Hey everybody, it's Dave here, and we're talking with Jonas Stärk, our newest member from our first overseas branch out in Germany. Jonas, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm a bit nervous because I've never done this in English before, but I mean, it's nice to do something new, and I'm really thankful to be here, and I'm excited to do this.
Well, Jonas wanted to join today and talk on your Vikings Daily SITREP about Kirk Cousins. It is time for Climbing the Pockets Vikings Daily SITREP.
Yeah, first of all, I think with the new regime coming in, I'm pretty sure that he is going to be traded. I think there isn't much. There isn't much to I just don't think they're gonna keep him. I think there isn't much incentive. I think they want to have a new beginning, and yeah, unless it's a general manager and a head coach who is familiar with Kirk Cousins, I'm pretty certain that he is going to be traded, and there will be definitely a market. I think he uh, is definitely a valuable asset to a team which currently has the roster, which wants to win now. He probably isn't very attractive to a team which is trying to rebuild, because that contract isn't good to build a roster around. But for a team which already has a roster and still has some financial wiggle room, I think uh, Kirk Cousins can be a valuable asset, bit like Stafford is now for the Rams, even though Stafford has not played very well as of right now. But yeah, I'm very certain that he will have suitors, and due to the fact that I currently don't think that Rodgers will leave the Packers due to reports uh, which were coming out like the last few weeks. And also, I don't think that Russell Wilson will be on the market, and Watson still has his legal troubles still ongoing. I think Cousins is still the most valuable quarterback on the market.
That's an interesting take. I would, I hope so. I do think he's tradable, very much so. I think with the new regime that's coming in, they may look at it as a way to get immediately under the cap and be the one of the first pegs to move so they can start building the way they want to build a franchise. And I agree with you. Cousins could go anywhere where they need a quarterback and they feel they're close enough that that's the final key, just like the Vikings did did 4 years ago. Let's hope now. If that's the case, what do you think we can get in trade for Kirk Cousins?
Um, I think it kind of depends if the Vikings are willing to eat maybe a little bit more of a salary than the 10 million, which they will keep on their books, the signing bonus. Um, they might be forced to eat like 5 or 10 million more to get first round pick and maybe some extra. But I don't think that would hurt the Vikings very much, because they are probably not going to be a contender immediately. So they can eat like 5 or 10 million, and that would make Cousins even more attractive, because in that case you have him at maybe 25, 27, or something like that dollars, $1 million, which in my opinion would definitely be a good value, especially in the current market situation. And yeah, I think we can get a first round pick. We can get a first round pick and a day two pick, maybe. I think Brad Spielberger or Spielberg, pretty much mispronounced the name.
Of PFF, formerly of Over the
Yeah,
Cap. Mm-hmm.
he suggested a first and second round pick from Pittsburgh, who definitely are potential suitors. And yeah, I think that's the easiest possibility they could get. Another possibility would be to take on the quarterback of said team, which would most likely be the case if they trade with the Cleveland Browns. I'm not very much in favor of that because I think you can get a bridge solution cheaper. But if they can get good value besides Mayfield, I'm okay with that. And the last idea, and I think I'm starting to like it more and more, the more I think about it, is to potentially structure it a bit like the Carson Wentz trade, not in the way that the first round pick is conditional. I wouldn't want that. But to have the first round pick in 2023 and maybe the day two pick in this season, because first of all, for the new team of Cousins, it would be a bit more attractive because they would still have their first round pick for this year and they would want to compete this year. So they still have one more chip to invest in their roster and still get Kirk Cousins. And for the Vikings, one of the most comments and arguments I got against trading Kirk Cousins is the current rookie class, which doesn't look very good. And if you get the first round pick for next season, you have 2 first round picks for next season to potentially trade up in a probably stronger, maybe even much stronger quarterback class, the way it looks right now. And then you could sign a cheap bridge guy this year, guy like Mariota, like Jameis Winston, and then go all in on a quarterback next year with all the capital they have. And if they do some cap moves this year, they might end up at around 60, maybe even close to 80 million next season, because there is a lot of money going off the books next season. They don't have major free agents besides Irv Smith Jr. next season. So they go into next year's offseason with a lot of capital, potentially 2 first-round picks to get a quarterback, and then you can be very competitive very quickly. So this could make much sense.
I agree with you. It does make strategic sense if the Vikings want to go that route, looking at next year's class versus this year's class. You get that 2023 first round pick that you target and earmark for a new quarterback. We use a bridge quarterback this year, whether it be Mayfield or whomever it is. And with the rest of the picks this year, then you focus on other perceived holes that you need to fill, high value holes, whether it be defensive back or defensive line, edge, offensive lineman, whoever it is. You fill that this year, and then next year you go get that quarterback. I think it's a great plan.
And maybe you can even still use the second round pick of this year to take one of those top 6 quarterbacks you have this year. So you don't invest a first round pick into one guy, but you still have maybe a high upside pick. If maybe Carson Strong falls because of his knee or something like that, you maybe even have your future quarterback if he turns out, and then you have 2 first round picks and more than $60 million in cap space next season to build around that. So you can still try to fix the quarterback position this year without investing the first round pick. And then you have next year to go all in if it isn't fixed yet.
Hey, sounds like a plan. I think it's great. While you join us, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're in Germany. How did you become a Vikings fan?
Mostly coincidence, which I think is true for most German football fans, and especially for the fans who don't necessarily root for the most successful teams. It was just I was with a friend. His older brother had an exchange student there, and we watched football. And I never have seen football before. It was like 12 years ago right now. So it was during the 2009 season, which obviously wasn't, yeah, of course. And yeah, I then started following, get closer. And as soon as I started playing myself, I definitely got more attached to the sport, because of course when you do something by yourself, it gets more into your life, and it's
you fall
it's
in
more
love
of a
with
factor. And yeah, of course. And yeah, I followed the Vikings more and more. We got more opportunities here in Germany to watch it, and yeah, the community also grew a lot more, and we established a Vikings fan club in Germany after the 2016 season. So it was again very good timing, because we established it before the best season that Vikings had in recent years. So we had big growth early on. We also had the London game in the first season, where we met a lot of people who joined the community. And yeah, we also started to produce content from our platform. So we also have a podcast in German, the Purple People Talk, from the Minnesota Vikings fans Germany. And yeah, we started to do more and more, and I started to get more active on Twitter, and just
well, that's awesome. Is there anything you'd like to say to your German friends, or European for that matter?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the thing I would like to say to the American listeners is that we have a really good Vikings community in Germany, and a really good group of Twitter accounts. I mean, the most famous German Twitter account, I think, is the sports tweeter Matthias, who is probably one of the funniest Vikings Twitter accounts, and probably the most well-known German Vikings fan right now. And then there's also our podcast crew, which is definitely worth a follow. Not everybody of them tweets in English, but they all do great work, and I really appreciate to work with them. And they produce a lot of good content, which on Twitter could also be understood by American people, I think, even though not everybody of them, like I said, tweets in English. But
we can translate. That's what the computer's for.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you guys say anything? I mean, we always say Skol Vikings. Is there a German equivalent, or are you saying the exact same thing?
We are saying the exact same thing. We also on our podcast, we just finish it with Skol. So it's the same thing. I think that doesn't need a translation.
No, it doesn't. And it's awesome. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today on the Vikings Daily SITREP.
Yeah, it was nice to be there. Skol.
Oh, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And if you're listening on your favorite aggregator, make sure you rate us. And always feel free to join the conversation here at Climbing the Pocket. Skol, everybody.